You know what time it is. You know what time it is.
How firm thy friendship. Oh,
you know what time it is. On brawl with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lames. Yeah, you know what time it is. Come brawl with them boys of the fall. Covered in gray and scarlet, massive, stiff arms to your jaw. We breaking it. We sick of seeing you clowns with the crown. We taking it.
What up, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to the Buckeye Boys on Buckeye Scoop, where we talk about college football with real fans. I'm Devan. That's Melo. We are joined by Funky tonight. Does not need an introduction. You know who he is. Melo, how you doing tonight, man? Funky,
And
how are you doing?
I'm doing great personally. This has been a great weekend. We got Caden Dixon Wyatt. Team up north is in shambles. Dan Lanning keeps getting stuffed in lockers. I couldn't ask for a better start to the week.
Yeah, I could not agree more. We woke up as national champions once again today, and literally woke up to my phone blowing up about Michigan self-imposing, or at least allegedly self-opposing punishment on Sharon Moore, and that I could not have woke up a better way. That was an amazing, because it broke at what 9:30 your time, so that was 6:30 my time. So definitely an early morning for me, but man, has it been busy, and I could not wait to get on the show. So thanks for having me on the show, Devan, and good meeting you, Melo. It's my first time actually talking with you. So, but good to be here, bro.
Yeah, we got a good show planned for you guys. Just so you know, if you might be watching this show for the first time, you might be like, who the heck are these guys, man? Me and Melo, we're the Buckeye Boys. We got our own channel, the Buckeye Boys. Go check that out, man. Scoop, Kirk, Nevada, Funky, B. Moses, gracious enough to let us have a couple shows out of the week on this channel. We've always been part of Buckeye Scoop family. That's the reason we started the show with Scoop. So we've always been in communication with them. They allowed us to come here and do this. We're thrilled to get this opportunity. And it couldn't have come at a better time, man, because as Funky said, some news dropped today. So we're going to get into that, man. And listen, I know we've talked about it a bunch, but it's in the news, right? There are rivals. It's in the news. And, somebody needs to talk about it because honestly, man, not only am I upset with, not really, I'm kind of used to the scum fan base and their media and how they handle this, but I'm a little bit upset with some Ohio State media and some of those shows as well that, I think what they want to do is they want to play the middle ground, right? Because they don't want to upset scum fans and they want them watching their shows too. I don't know what it is, but too many of our fan bases, channels, and media, man, are just acting like nothing's going to happen, that they use the excuse, I don't have faith in the NCAA and all that stuff. And at this point in time, man, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how much more obvious this needs to get that you can have faith in the NCAA because this is so huge, man. If this was something little and we didn't have a lot of evidence to go on, but I mean, you go back to the Tony Petitti letter, you could just use the letter and read that and understand how serious this thing is. So, it's time to talk about this thing, man, and stop trying to play both sides of the fence here and act like this thing isn't obvious because you're feeding into the other side of this, the other fan base that acts like this isn't a big deal, acting like Sharon Moore, and this is an agreement between the NCAA, and this is all that's going to happen, and it's a slap on the wrist and the whole 9 yards. So, I just wanted to start off saying that, man, because I think it's going on too much, man. Stop playing the middle of the road. Pick one of them and go with it. This news comes out, and all of a sudden people want to jump on and act like they've been saying the whole time that something's going to happen. They're going to get the hammer, the whole 9 yards. Nah, man, you ain't been saying that. You've been saying you don't have faith in the NCAA. And I don't know what your ultimate game plan is, but it's time to jump on what is obvious, right? You don't need inside information to see what is going on here. So, on that note, fellas, I want to start off. I want to ask you guys a question each. Both you guys can answer this because it's like I want to make sure when we're about to talk that we are not talking from a standpoint of scarlet glasses, right? That this is our hated rival. So I got to ask you guys, roles are reversed here. Let's reverse the roles and say Ohio State is in this situation. All this evidence, all this news is coming out. Matter of fact, let me just tell you real fast. May 23rd, one of their coaches got fired for, old deleted racial text messages on X. Alex, the underage, with the underage people, fired. Greg, D-line coach, DUI. Robinson, DUI, fired. Jim and Jake, Central Michigan coaches, they got let go because they let Connor Stalions on the sideline. There were unnamed coaches with 1-year show causes. Clint's 2-year show cause. Mentor, 1-year show cause. Jim, 4-year show cause with the 1-game suspensions. Partridge discussing with players got fired. Stallions got fired. Matt Weiss with the hacking. Sharon Moore, the thing. And then their president leaving. That is a list. Let's say that happened to Ohio State. Do you think Ohio State, the NCAA, would slam Ohio State if this stuff happened? Melo?
Well, just to be fair and just to start off, absolutely not. I don't think we even get a fair shake from the media. It's like all the talking heads want to make excuses for the team up north and the fact that they cheated and they lied and that they're dishonest and that they break laws all the way across the board, from the coaching staff all the way down. Their culture is broken. So if this happened at Ohio State, with how our administration is and how our fan bases are, everybody would be gone. We would be calling for Coach Day to be fired, the entire staff, even Hartline. And that's saying a lot because Hartline is the best recruiter in the nation, maybe in history of college football, to be honest. So no, we wouldn't be acting the same as the team up north or their fan base at all.
Yeah, I mean, if this, like, that question is because this situation would never happen at Ohio State. That's the thing. It's been proven time and time again that anytime we're ever in any NCAA trouble, our administration, our people, our president, our athletic directors are kind of like actively against us. It's almost like they are like cheering against us because they hold us to such a high standard, our own our own people in our own university, that Ryan Day would have been fired already 2 years ago. Whatever. Yeah, you're right. Everyone on staff would have been fired, no doubt. And we would have started from literally ground zero. They wouldn't care about how much money they lost, of how many coaches they lost, how many recruits they're going to lose, or how bad we'd be for the next 5, 6, 7 years, because we are held to a different standard. You can even talk to like the compliance officers at Ohio State, and they know that. And ask Kirk about them, but there's compliance officers all over the building, and there's they have to constantly talk to them. We have the daily meetings with them. I mean, Ohio State, it does not want this stuff to happen, and because they know you turn into a program like Michigan, like what's been happening there, then it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. Because as bad as the hammer is going to be, the slow, years-long investigation process is going to hurt the university more as a whole. Because now it's not just Buckeye fans having their conspiracy theories and wanting the football program to burn. It's it's very similar to what Penn State had, in 10 years ago, where they're forever going to be known as cheaters, forever going to be known as the person that leaked those hundreds of thousands of emails, the predators, the pedophiles. I mean, that's what they're going to be known as for, probably the rest of my lifetime. This is not going away anytime soon. Literally, no matter even what the NCAA says, to be honest with you. Even if they're going to get hammered, that the hammer doesn't need to happen for the most of the nation to forever think this way, because it's all true. I mean, they did have a serial predator and a child predator on the staff at the same time, both covered up by Michigan beat writers.
Yeah, for sure. There's several things to get in this show. This is one of the questions that we will be answering. If you're new to us, me and Melo, we have interviewed several recruits. Funky is the recruiting guru over there on the Scoop board, so he talks to several recruits as well. So we have an answer to this question, and it's not a question that we think we might know. We're not, gathering evidence from articles that we read. These are straight from the sources. We have asked recruits, how does this affect you guys? We've asked recruits that has Michigan, that used to have them on their top 5 teams or whatever. No longer, not anymore. We're going to get into that. Before we get into that, though, I want to break down what actually happened. You know what I mean? Today with the Sharon Moore show cause. They self-implemented this, a 2-game show cause for games, their 3rd and 4th game of the season. Funky mentioned, man, if you go over and you want to use a scum source for this, I would advise strongly against that. There's rumors out there that this is an agreement between them and the NCAA, that the NCAA wanted 6 games. They settled on 2 games. The NCAA doesn't want any vacated wins. There's rumors out there that this is all there's going to be. This is the hammer right here. Sharon Moore not being able to coach and practice or the game for 2 games, not the 1st and 2nd, not the 10th and the 11th, the 3rd and the 4th game of the season. This show cause is for the text messages that he deleted. In this case, that's what this is for. This isn't for anything other than that. So this is not a punishment. The NCAA had nothing to do with this punishment. If you ask me, this might just infuriate the NCAA a little more, that all this whole time you want to tweet out, bet, nothing's going to happen. We didn't do anything. You guys are wrong. This is ridiculous. And you want to fight and fight and fight. And then at the last minute, you want to give us a show cause, but you want to pick your games. Well, perfect example, man. I know Funky brought this up on the board earlier over there. Go check out Buckeye Scoop message board if you want to learn this stuff a little sooner than you're learning it right now. Great place to be. But check this out. What did they implement for Jim Harbaugh? What was Scum's answer to punish Jim Harbaugh? It was a 3-game suspension. Now, what was the NCAA's response to that? It was a 4-year show cause and a 1-year suspension. So let's set that up against Sharon Moore's self-implemented 2-game show cause. What does that equal? The NCAA, this is not the answer. This is them grasping at straws at this point, if you ask me. Funky, I want you to start off, man. I know you got a lot to say about this. You were tearing it up on the message board over there, man. Let us have it, man.
Yeah, and the first thing I would want to underline is the scum media is already contradicting themselves. They both claim that they're talking to Michigan, Chris Bayless and Sam Webb. While Chris Bayless, when he first heard the news, was like, yep, their lawyers worked it out with each other, and they settled on 2 games. The NCAA wanted 6, but they end up settling at 2 with Michigan. That's originally what Chris Bayless says. But then about, an hour and a half later, Sam Webb comes out with an article and talks about how this is not settled. This case is this thing's not settled. Michigan's not for sure suspending Sharon Moore for 2 games. That's just their proposed suspension, but it still has to go to the Committee of Infractions and through the NCAA. And if Michigan thinks the NCAA is overstepping with their other penalties or pushing too hard, then Michigan's going to pull it all back and pretty much not have any. Does that make sense? Am I saying that right? So they're just saying they're pretty much just saying, AK, it's not settled, and it's not an agreement. That's Michigan's proposed agreement. The NCAA has still the full right to say that's absolutely not enough, or to say no straight up and give them their own separate, 6-8 game suspension. Do I really know what Sharon Moore is going to get? No, I really don't. But the fact that Michigan's willing to settle a 2-game suspension on Sharon Moore when all he really did was he got 1 level 2 violation. He got one level 2 violation, and he's a repeat offender. So what's that going to happen when the university is a repeat offender at this point? They showed patterns of non-compliance throughout this whole process. Jim Harbaugh is a repeat offender, and he got another level 1. All these other coaches got a level 1. The 6 other level 1 infractions, while most of them are repeat offenders, and the university, is showing this lack of whatever. I'm not sure the right word. Lack of just the only way I can put it is Jim Harbaugh, or when in that first case, the cheeseburger case, they said that Jim Harbaugh made a culture at Michigan that he claimed they said go to the line and cross it. So they pretty much encourage Michigan staffers to cheat. So, and that was the culture at Michigan. And I think the NCAA is going to underline that and hammer them with this level 1 violation. That's going to cause, it's going to probably be a level 1 violation it's probably going to be lack of institutional control. That is the very popular answer, and I'd be shocked if that wasn't the answer. But at worst, if it's failure to monitor is still 1 or 2 years season or postseason ban. That's still what failure to monitor would be. Lack of institutional control is going to be in that 2, 3, 4 range. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there, and I genuinely think it's going to be LOIC, and I think they'll have a 2 or 3 year bowl ban because that's fitting for the bum. To be honest with you, if you're with all this non-compliance, all this BS, 2 to 3 year bowl ban would be a fitting crime. But it lasted 3 years. They screwed Ohio State for 3 years. Might as well give them a 3 year bowl ban.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to touch on one thing that Funky said that I think is key to all of this, and that's the word culture. And what does that mean to the team up north as in to comparison with Ohio State? If you look at their culture or lack thereof, because I don't really think they have a culture, they're scoundrels and they'll do anything to win. They already showed that. They've proven that. They cheated. They'll lie. They'll steal. They'll go ahead and do anything illegal to try to get an advantage, anything just to win a football game. Now you look at Ohio State, and sometimes they're missing out on kids that they totally could get if they just want to pony up some money, even kids in the portal. But then it's going to mess up the culture because they're going to come in and it's going to readjust the market value for everybody on our team and just in college football in general. And if you look at the culture today, for instance, you had Chris Henry Jr., Max Clare, J.J. Smith, Julian Sayin, Lincoln Keenholz, Caden Dixon Wyatt, all out, and Carnell Tate and Brandon Ennis all out in California today training together. That's the brotherhood. That's a culture. That's something that's built on substance, right? So that's why you don't see Ohio State in scandals like this. And when there's something that happens, they report it immediately and it's dealt with immediately, regardless of the punishment. You're not going to run from it. You're not going to cover it up because when you do those things, the punishment's just going to be worse. And Team Up North and their fan base are in for a rude awakening because it is coming.
Yeah, at this point, go to the NCAA dashboard yourself, do your own research. Again, you don't need inside sources to see what is happening inside this program. And we are only discussing the football program. This is not a discussion we are having right now because they are a rival. This is a discussion we are having because we love college football, right? And college football is loved by players whose life is football, and this affected their lives, and something needs to be done about it. So, people are going to keep downplaying and they're going to comment on this video below. Man, these OSU fans, they just can't stop talking about us, right? I don't give a dang what team did this. This would absolutely infuriate me. It really would. But what makes it even more infuriating is the response that we always get from either their media or their fan base or trying to talk to them about it. Man, I get it. This would hurt, right? If Ohio State did this, this would hurt bad, man. It would break my heart. I'm pretty passionate about Ohio State football, the football aspect of it, but also the culture aspect that Melo just talked about. It is a breath of fresh air to look at a big-time college football program in today's world that mostly revolves around money and competition and how can you hurt somebody else to climb higher on your ladder, it's really cool to see a group of young men that are going to be leaders in this world one day help each other out, have the culture, do kids camps for free, come together as one, and do things the right way, right? We're just becoming desensitized to that. And that's what the big deal. It's not a big deal because they beat us. You can act like it is. I can say that. They beat us 13-10. It sucked. Hopefully we get them next time. Boom, done. I'm not emotional about it. Not sit here, crying, freaking out. It's freaking football, man. That's why I love it, because I care so much. But this goes way deeper than that. It really does. And at this point, if you are reporting on this, if you are going to go on YouTube and talk about this, you need to talk about it, man. You need to do your research on your own. Don't read a message board, what people think about it. Go read the Big Ten, Tony Petitti's letter. Go look at all these allegations and all these penalties that have occurred. And we haven't even got into the sign stealing yet. That's the thing. Or the advanced scouting, not sign stealing, the advanced scouting. We haven't even reached that part of it yet. And, the first part of this, when it happened, there were so many things that you could look at and their fans could rely on to say, oh, wow, our media is right. It really isn't that bad. And one of the things they were looking at is their recruiting classes. For instance, last year, not a bad recruiting class, got some big time dogs in there. So their fan base was using this as, well, these kids are still coming here. This big time recruiting class, it obviously isn't that big a deal. Our media is right. Not a big deal. Well, you see what's going on now, right? And I'm here to tell you what was going on is they were lying to recruits last year, telling them that they were going to beat this. This isn't what you think it is. It's not a big deal. Nothing's going to happen from this. And then what just happened is a really big deal to a lot of people. The Sharon Moore show causes a lot of deal to a lot of people, but especially the recruits that they have been telling for over a year now that nothing is going to happen. They got this under control. All is going to be well. So you ask yourself, how does this affect recruits? Well, based off speaking to several different ones, and I know Funky's got some stuff to add to this as well, but it directly affects them. They are not going to give them a shot because of this, and you cannot blame them. Like, I don't look at everything going on. Something needs to be fixed, not because this is a football game, again, but because this is dealing with people's lives, man. Everything that is coming out of this program right now, something needs to change. We haven't even brought up yet that their president, Ono, went to Florida. So first off, let me ask you guys, if you were going to be a president, well, let's say you're not an Ohio State fan. If you're going to pick one of the schools to go to be the president of, would it be them or would it be Florida? Because here's where I'm going with that. In my mind, he's kind of taking a step backwards here. Not that Florida is some horrible place, but I mean, their team up north is a little bit bigger of a college, more money, the whole 9 yards, as far as I'm concerned, and as far as I know. But this is just going to get played off like this has nothing to do with it. It's not connected. It is connected. He left because he knows what's about to happen, just like every other person that ran and left for the NFL. Their AD is next. Ward Manuel is not going to be here very much longer. I wouldn't be surprised if Sharon Moore is not here that much longer. This is the reality of this. I used to sit here and skate by and say, let's just wait till the NCAA and see what they're going to do. Well, here's something I know, and I can't wait to hear the responses to this. Their natty is gone. Their Big Ten titles are gone. Not that the NCAA can do that, but they are not going to recognize them, and wins are getting vacated. That's what I know is happening. So I'm cool with that. Whatever else happens, I don't know. But Funky, you got anything to add to that little rant I just went on?
Yeah, I mean, add on to what you said about talking to people who are recruited by Michigan in the class of, what are we on, 2026 now? So the class of 2025 last year and the people in the class of 2026. I mean, I've talked to kids in the class of 2025 that almost picked Michigan for a number of reasons, mostly money, and they I've talked to them throughout their whole process last year and a little bit this year. I kind of swung back around. A lot of them aren't even at Ohio State, and I asked them like, what did they tell you about the scandal? Like you must have asked, you must have seen something. Those conversations must have happened. What did you ask? And they pretty much asked. They brought it up. They said sometimes they even would quote Buckeye Scoop, in that Michigan would always fully denounce it and say nothing's going to happen, and give them this whole spiel about how the NCAA didn't even find anything, and this is going to end up being uh, nothing, literally nothing. They said this might be a fine, and Connor Stallions is going to have face a show cause, and they might go after Harbaugh, but no one on the staff is going to be the whipping boy. There's going to be no postseason bans, no the vacated wins in the past won't even happen, and they said it's going to be just smooth sailing right now, and that's all they would say. So they pretty much completely lied to these recruits. So I would not be shocked to see a handful of them, or I know for a fact, or not for a fact, I guess, but you could assume that a handful of the kids right now on the team are really regretting their decisions, because they're smart. They're smart enough to, like Devan said, you could not listen to one piece of information we say, and all you do is read what the NCAA has said, and you can make your own opinion on it. And when you see the NCAA and the Big Ten use words like compromise the integrity of competition and that stuff, I mean, that's damning. That's the type of stuff that you wouldn't want to hear it coming from a big force. I think that was actually by the Big Ten, but it's with information given to them by the NCAA. So I can assume it was a little bit of a group effort there. So just when you hear that and these recruits are getting lied to, and you already see there's a recruit in the class of 2026 who had Michigan in his top 6, then all of a sudden scheduled 5 official visits and pretty much cut out Michigan out of his recruitment process. And you wonder why did he do that all of a sudden? It's like, oh, because he kind of probably did his own research, or finally heard some truth, or finally got someone in his corner being like, you're being lied to, or got something happened. But I reached out and asked him why, and he told me exactly that. He said it was about the scandal, it was about the future sanctions, was about the Matt Weiss stuff, was about the $1 billion lawsuits they're facing. It was about the whole 9 yards. And he says he doesn't even know exactly what's going to happen, but just the fact that Michigan is going through all that stuff is damning enough, and he shouldn't even associate himself with that university.
Absolutely. So me and Dev, we talked to the same recruits. The scandal and what is going to be the inevitable punishment is driving recruits away from them. They can't even pay them enough money to go. They're cutting them out of visits, like you said. And if you go back and you just look at everything that Dev had read in the beginning, that's just with the football team. We're not talking about in terms, and this is in turn speaking to Ono leaving, which I would never, if I had it all thing equal, there's no way I'm choosing Florida to be the president over Team Up North. There's just no way. Team Up North has larger endowments. It's a bigger brand, bigger name, and a better conference and area, has a larger alumni. So for him to leave, and you think about the lawsuits like Funky just brought up in terms of the Matt Weiss scandal. And then they had another thing that's not even associated with any sports. They have some Middle Eastern protesters that got fired for protesting on campus, and now they're suing. So if you're in Sonny Ono's shoes, and you're like, all right, well, my contract ends in 2032, but once all this stuff hits, how am I going to get a job anywhere else? So I need to leave now and try to escape it. And hopefully by the time everything hits, people forget that I was the actual acting president when all this happened under my watch. And then for an actual president of a university to be tweeting out bet at an institution, like just mocking them, when has that ever been done? I don't think that's ever been done. And he's the first to do it. So for people to think like the NCAA is just going to be like, yeah, the 2 games suspension, that's good. We're just going to rock with that. It's okay. You're right. They're out for blood. There's some great whites in the water, and they smell blood, and they want it.
That's so funny to me, man, that they tried to self-impose on the 3rd and 4th game of the season. Like, dude, listen, like all emotions aside, you guys, like, Funky Mellow, how do you think the NCAA is going to respond to that? Do you think are there people in that room that make the decisions that's going to look in this and it's going to infuriate them a little bit? Like that's such an entitled move to choose. Hey, I'm going to suspend for the third and fourth game, or am I missing something here? Is this a normal thing? Is this okay to do? Has this happened before? Have teams implemented, self-imposed on their coaches, and they got to pick and choose which games during the season to do this? Where am I at with? Am I off here? Somebody help me.
I was literally just thinking about it in my head. I'm like, has that ever happened before? And I mean, in any league. I mean, the NFL, the NCAA, NBA, and the answer is no. Like, that's ridiculous. I mean, that's a ridiculous statement to even say. So, I mean, I don't even know how the NCAA is going to react to that. I have no idea. But if they're you got to remember, these are human beings you're talking to too. So there's a human factor to it. So they're going to look at it, and they're going to look at it and be like, oh, they're offer a 2-game suspension. Like, that's fine. But in reality, the NCAA has known this for a while. That's what you have to realize. The NCAA, I mean, we reported it months ago. The NCAA already offered up, Michigan already offered up a 1-year bowl ban and a multi-year show cause and a multi-year, or not multi-year suspension, but a suspension for Sharon Moore, a 1-year bowl ban, and a show cause for Sharon Moore and other staffs involved. In the NCAA said, heck no, denied it instantly. So them offering up Sharon Moore for 2 games, NCAA's probably known that. That's probably already been on the table for a while, and there's just no way that they are done with him, because they're going to get 6 games out of him. And that's just for being a repeat offender in a level 2 violation. So, I mean, I'd be very confident saying that. They're going to get a half a year out of him on a suspension. And we're saying that like it's nothing. But that's a huge thing. We're just so they've done so much bad in the past, Devan, Melo, that we use like 6-game suspensions, a year suspension, a 2-year show cause. Like, that's a light punishment. That's a heavy punishment. That's a massive punishment. I mean, imagine Ryan Day just got suspended tomorrow for half the year for 6 games. I mean, that would be gigantic. I remember when Urban Meyer, we self-imposed a 3-game suspension for him, and he couldn't even coach that TCU game over, in my opinion, BS, but not to get into that. So, and that was for nothing compared to what this is. This is a Goliath. This is a whole NCAA thing. This is, extremely serious. And I don't even understand Michigan's logic here. And the best part of the whole thing is their fans are still upset about it. But that's the reason why they can't do it. I just got to bring that up. The reason why they can't jump ahead and self-impose, and someone asks, oh, why didn't they just take a bowl ban last year? They could have done that. If they think they're going to get a bowl ban, they probably should have already done it. And I'm like, you can't do that, because that's admitting guilt. That's admitting guilt to your whole fan base. That they're not saying, oh, wow, we deserve a bowl ban, we deserve show causes, we just deserve suspensions. And that's going to bust open the whole thing of coaches getting fired, of people actually thinking games are going to be vacated. Because right now they're playing the high road, and they're like, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen, because they're so scared of losing those wins and vacating those Big Ten title games and vacating that national title. So, and they can't give any, because even this, the fans are freaking out about. Devan, Melo, I'm sure you've seen online. Fans are like, Michigan has no backbone. This is ridiculous. So imagine what would happen if they would have accepted a 1-year bowl ban already, or self-imposed it. They would have lost their shit. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Would have lost their marbles. Sharon Moore Ward Manuel would have been called for his head. They would have done so much stuff to him that's not even funny, and the whole program would burn down. The donations would dry out. The recruits would leave, because the fan base would flip on its head. So, and that's the difference between Ohio State and Michigan. Ohio State fans would be calling for a bowl ban right now. We would have been. I remember one of my earliest memories is my dad getting really frustrated with us not taking a bowl ban and on that Florida Bowl. And I remember him being like, I'm like, why do you want Ohio State not to play? And he's like, just this is just better. We should have taken it on the chin right now, because we don't know what's really going to happen, even though they said nothing's going to happen. That's literally what was being said. And all of a sudden that came around, and we lost a natty out of it. So who knows really, but that's why Michigan is not self-imposing, because their fans are really more lunatic. They're more culty than we are. We might be lunatics, but we're not culty. I'd say that because we'll hate on our university if needed. Michigan fans will die by the university. They rather die than see Michigan fail. While if Ohio State's in the wrong, Ohio State fans would be the first one to tell you that for the wrong or they could. Yeah.
Yeah, we get crapped on as a fan base. For instance, I mean, this Ryan Day stuff was taken way too far, obviously, but Ryan Day loses to his rival, and look what half our fan base does. They say, get him out of there. You know what I mean? So we are quick to, jump on that train. Melo, did you have anything to add to that before I bring up this next point?
No, I think you guys pretty much hit on everything. So, yeah, let's go. Let's rock. Let's keep it moving.
Yeah, the other thing, and I might need corrected here, but after doing some digging, you heard a little bit under the radar, didn't get talked about much, that none of their coaches were on the road recruiting, right? And you're like, this is weird. There's a lot of speculation out there. Why? Well, I was told this is another, them doing this to, I'm forgetting the word to use. Yeah, self-imposing a recruiting restriction of 4 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks now, and then 2 weeks later, or
a
something.
Month, yeah. It's already been going on for 2 weeks, but they just hid it under the rug because, yeah.
Yeah, and that's going on as well. I've heard this was for the 2021-2022 recruiting violations. So, I mean, dude, show cause for your head coach. During one of the most important recruiting times of the year, one of the very few times you get to get on the road and go show these recruits, and you're self-implementing that, like Funky, you brought it up. I mean, everybody's acting like these are little, not big punishments. You know what I mean? The goalpost keeps getting moved. That is the overall theme for the supporters of that team up north, is this. You know what I mean? Oh, well, I don't mind it. I mean, I was just on a show the other day, and I asked them if they thought it was a big deal. And before I could even get the question out, everybody started screaming, no, this isn't a big deal. You're just an Ohio State fan. Boy, if we throw the hook in the water, you guys are biting on it. We're just over here fishing, man. This ain't a big deal if coaches aren't on the road. They're going to be out there next week, May 19th. They're going to get on the road, and they're going to see these recruits. It's not a big deal. Now, mind you, there was one level-headed, thinking individual in that group that said, yes, this is a big deal, because it is, man. It's a big deal. Even the 2-game suspension that they just implemented for Sharon Moore, dude, that's a big deal. Think about if Ohio State did that up to Ryan Day. Oh my God, it's a huge deal, man. And that wasn't even for, none of these infractions or these punishments so far are for, they don't have repeat offender in it. They don't have the scouting ahead of time in it at all. So, I mean, at this point in time, once this Sharon Moore stuff has come out, if you can't look at this, look at the evidence yourself and see that, okay, my team did something very, very wrong here. It needs cleaned up. I mean, do you guys think we're ever going to see the AD or the head coach come out and say, yes, we made a mistake. We're going to fully cooperate with the NCAA and their investigations and whatever they need, even after the NCAA? By the way, the hearing is set for June 6th and 7th. Do you guys think we're going to hear that from anybody from that team?
The thing is, Devan, we already have. Just remember that interview with Scam Webb and Ward Manuel, and Ward Manuel goes out there and says, we have to admit that we did some wrongdoings and we're going to get punished for it. And people kind of ignored it because they're like, just don't want to hear it really. But we all know what that means. Ward Manuel knows what's coming. That's the most ridiculous part of this whole thing. He knows what's coming. But again, they just can't say anything. Because even saying that they're self-imposing a 2-game suspension on Sharon Moore made everyone freak out. Or not everyone, but a vast majority of their fan base freak out and was like, we have no backbone. What are we doing? This is ridiculous. NCAA is overstepping. So imagine what he would have done if he's going out there and saying we're self-imposing.
And Funky, just think about it. they pretty much already admitted it, not just in that interview, but by self-opposing, by not going on the road to recruit. This is the biggest time to be on the road because official visits are coming up within the next week or two. So for them to not be on the road is basically them kissing this recruiting class goodbye, in essence. They're just kissing a whole recruiting class away. So for when Dev was on that show and they said it wasn't a big deal, it was absolutely a massive deal. Imagine if Ryan Day and Heartline and James Laurinaitis and OG Walt and Tyler Bowen and all these guys weren't on the road right now. What would our fan base do? Think about when just Fry wasn't going out and recruiting like that, and everybody wanted him out of here, even though he's an elite developer, as we saw from the Natty run with all the injuries. So for them to say it's not a big deal is just insane.
I mean, you're totally right. And you got to remember, that's just for 2021 recruiting violations for having, or not, or it was like too many staffers coaching or whatever the heck. And they took in 2020, and now it's 2025. So you got to remember, this is 4 years later, guys. So when we say this investigation's on hyperspeed, it's on hyperspeed. We're only in 2025, and this investigation started in 2023. The other one, they're self-imposing for a thing they did 4 years ago. They're self-imposing a month-long recruiting hiatus, which I'm not even really sure what that means. But you're totally right. It is meaningful. And that means the only way they can get back to the recruiting and, like, keep up the same level that they need to keep if they want to be, you know, a top 10, top 5 college and college football, or competing for a national championship every single year, which I'm sure is their goal, is they're going to need to overspend in NIL. And as we've been seeing, there's been a slow pattern with recruits, with teams, with parents, and it's because they all know NIL restrictions are coming. They all know it's an open secret now. There's a reason why Oregon's been striking out, losing commitments. You remember they're heating up. They had the best class in this. They had the best class of 2026 for about a month. Them and USC were going head to head. Then all of a sudden, Oregon got like 4 decommitments. They lost like a 5-star kid to Washington, or like a high 4-star kid to Washington. And you're wondering, what the heck? What is going on with Oregon? They just lost KDW to us, and their fans claimed NIL when they have unlimited NIL. And then they were going to lose Jared Curtis and Jackson Cantwell. And you wonder why. And that's because Oregon can no longer just give recruits, name us your number. What is Ohio State giving you? $700K? We'll give you $1.2 million. You know, they can't do that anymore because there's going to be some sort of salary cap. So these teams are being very careful with who they pay because, you know, they don't want to get screwed with a bad contract that they're going to have to pay off for the next 3 years, because that's what's most likely going to be. It's most likely going to be binding contracts for 4 years. There's probably going to be some sort of players union, some player protection, and that's just going to make universities scared to spend money, or, you know, scared to give the wrong contracts and play it more like Ohio State does, where we only give money to the right kids at the right time when they deserve it and when they're going to be difference makers on the team, not to a high 4-star recruit that might make an impact his second or third year on the team. It's going to be for either the JJ Smiths of the world or for the productive starters who've proven it at Ohio State. Unlike Oregon. So now Oregon no longer has that big advantage over everyone else, which is why we're going to see a subtle drop off in Oregon's recruiting, Michigan's recruiting, and I mean, those are the 2 main ones. And Miami's recruiting, and just those big, or even though Miami kind of recruits itself, it's in Miami's, it's whatever. But, you know, especially Oregon and Michigan, who've never been elite recruiting schools before NIL, you're going to start to see them slowing down because, again, they can't spend these big monies, which is also going to help the SEC schools. But again, we're not talking about that right now.
Yeah, that's honestly one of the biggest changes in recruiting because, you know, me and Melo started this show not long ago, but, you know, we talked to recruits last year. We talked to them this year. We asked around the same type of questions. Last year, if you asked the recruit the question this time of year, hey, are teams talking money with you right now? The answer was yes. Yes, they are. Ohio State wasn't. They were the oddball out. They were not. And me and Melo even had a show. Hey, should Ohio State get with the times and start talking about money a little bit earlier? Well, I'm glad they didn't. And a lot of people talked, me and Melo talked about this too. One of the reasons why we believed Ohio State didn't do that, number one, is culture. Number two is because it wouldn't always be that way. If they keep their system in place, whenever the NCAA, whoever ruled on nil and put in money on it, they wouldn't have to frantic and have to change their strategy up and do all this thing. They just became elite relationship builders. That way, when this comes into play, they don't have to change their strategy on how they do things. But this year, when we ask recruits just straight up, this is a question we ask them off air, and I'm telling you, this is word for word. Do recruits talk, or do teams come into your house and talk to you about money right now? And the answer was no. And the recruit continued by saying, they tell me no because they don't know what's really going to happen. They don't know, what's going to be decided on this. The teams are expecting a decision to come down that is going to cap them on nil, that's going to limit what they're able to spend, Funky, like you brought up. So, I mean, there's a huge difference from last year just to this year in the way that teams are approaching recruiting, and you're seeing it. I mean, not that Caden Dixon-Wyatt was going to take the bag or he's that type of player, but, Oregon got shoved in a locker, man. USC got shoved in a locker. He came here for development. Part of that could be, I don't know, the money's not being talked about, right now. I don't think that was a bad example because that kid did not come here and they could have talked about money and he still would have picked Ohio State. The point being, we've talked to several recruits and that's their answer. Melo can attest to that. He's been right beside me after the shows and we just straight up ask. That's not a show. That's not a question we want to ask live. You don't want to ever put a recruit in that position to, talk about something like that. But they'll just straight up tell you no. And the teams are telling recruits why. Hey, we expect a decision to come down that's going to limit what we're able to offer you.
Yeah, and just the whole infrastructure and the way that Ohio State goes about it. I won't get into their model, but I mean they're well advanced. I remember when NIL first started, it seemed like we were behind, but watching Coach Day over these years, you realize that he's a master thinker, right? He's a strategist. That's who he is at heart. And he's looking how to navigate and he's trying to have the foresight. All right, well, we don't really know what the rules are. There are no rules. We have to figure out the rules and create the game and then go from there and be the best at it, whatever the rules are. And you saw we started off slow. We lost probably a lot of recruits because of NIL. Justin Scott, Dylan Stewart, just to name a couple. The running backs from Miami, Mark. So, like, at the end of the day, they got it together. And now we're ahead of the game and ahead of the curve and out front ahead of everyone to where we don't have to spend and throw crazy amount of money at high school kids because now when the ruling comes down, we're in a position to succeed. Thanks to the foresight of Coach Day. And when me and Dev say that Coach Day is the best coach in college football, it's not just the on-field stuff. It's all the stuff that encompass running a football program or a team. It's basically him being a CEO and picking the right guys around him to do the right job and know how to do it. And he doesn't have to worry about micromanaging them, which frees him up to look at the big picture and what's coming down the road. So I'm happy for that. I'm happy that they're going to have some kind of rules for NIL because they need it. This was killing the coaches, having to constantly recruit their team, not only high school players, and then recruit the portal at the same time. It was killing them.
Yeah, man. And I do want to take a slight, we got about 5-10 minutes left. So I want to take a slight turn here. We'd actually start talking about a little bit of Ohio State football now. That's what I want to talk about. Beautiful transition into a couple of the changes that Ryan Day has made. Well, we know that when Ryan Day sees a problem, right, he finds a solution for it. Maybe not in the timeline that Ohio State fans want him to. We're not in there. We don't understand all it takes to make certain changes. But, you look at this year, there's two things I want to hit on real fast, and I want you guys to hit on as well. And that's number one, offensive line recruiting. What did Ryan Day do there? He went out, hired Bowen, an elite recruiter. So far, he has proven that. And also 2 other head offensive line coaches. Okay. Problem number one. Number two, what's probably the overall thing? If you're a big-time football fan, big-time Ohio State fan, there is one thing we can agree on with Ryan Day, and it's that he has not put special teams very high on his list. That's just by watching the games, in my opinion. And then you look at this year, what's he do? Goes in, gets a long snapper that all of us want to smirk about, but big deal. And then he also gets another kicker in the portal. And it seems to be that he is focusing. Not only that, he goes out and he hired, what's his name out of NFL? Ebner. What's that? The guy that played in the NFL, coach. He's a coach now. Ryan Day hired him. One of you guys know his name.
From Oklahoma State?
No, the guy that played in the NFL on special teams. He made a career out of special teams. Why do I keep wanting to say Jake Ebner? Is that his name? I don't know. But anyway, Ryan Day hired Nate Ebner. That's what it is. Yeah, thank you, Aaron. That's what he did. I mean, in the NFL, he made a career out of special teams. Ryan Day goes out and gets him, and it seems that he's putting a little more energy into this special teams thing. So there's two out of many areas of this team. Hit on that real quick, guys, and your thoughts on what Ryan Day is doing with his team this year in particular, offensive line and special teams. Funky?
Yeah, that was honestly my favorite thing about the offseason, because this team, you can say a lot of negatives about it. I mean, we're going to have a freshman redshirt freshman quarterback, but a first-year starting quarterback, I mean, by an inexperienced defense. That's just a fact. So those are like the two bigger negatives. But the positive that we can say that we have on this team that we didn't have on last year's team is a competition at kicker and competent special teams, or that's what it's looking like. It's looking like we're going to have a way better special teams than we had the year prior, which is a big thing because we know how special teams could really change these games. Thankfully, we didn't really have to rely on it too much in the playoffs, or not at all, really. We had one field goal to make versus Notre Dame, and that's about it. There wasn't much punting the Buckeyes did. So, but this year, with a rookie quarterback and inexperienced defense, special teams is going to mean something. You have a harder schedule this year. You have tough road games. You're going to need a kicker to be able to make kicks in loud opposing team stadiums. And this kid's done it. Forgetting his name. For some reason, I want to say Cantwell, but I'm pretty sure that's wrong. But that Ohio kid, was 100% from 50 yard. He made like 2 50-yard field goals, including one for the win versus, I think NIU it was, the team that beat Notre Dame. And then we really addressed that issue in our team. And we got these experienced coaches. And I know it might be too early to say, but I think Tyler Bowen was an amazing hire. Fantastic hire. And Matty P is getting paid $2.5 million a year, which is a ton for a defensive coordinator. So Ohio State must think really, really, really highly of him, which is good, because I'd be almost concerned if we saw his deal and we're like, oh, that's a steal of a deal to get Matty P for 3 years. But I love looking at him like, oh, wow, we gave him his fair amount of money. We gave him a good amount of change. And that shows that he's still very respected within the circles of college football and football in general. And he's been out there recruiting well. And you look at the new wide receiver coach from Oregon. He just won us he was a big part in that battle. Brian Hartline, you could say all the things you want, but this Oregon wide receiver coach really helped Ohio State win them over Oregon. And then you look at the offensive line room, and there's like 3 coaches on the offensive line room that Ryan Day hired that their sole job is the coach. These guys aren't recruiting, really. Those guys aren't here to talk to our Darius Gray or whoever the Felix Ojo. That's Tyler Bowen's job. These guys are here to coach of offensive line. Tyler Bowen's job is more to, coach offensive line a little bit, but recruit mostly and focus on game planning and offensive play calling mostly. Because he's going to really help out Brian Hartline in the run game, being a run game coordinator, and really help out him and Ryan Day to make sure that the offense is flowing and being good. But having that many coaches on staff is, amazing. Because we just talked about how Michigan got punished for it, but now thankfully it's illegal. So now then we're going to take advantage of it, and we're doing a great job at it. Because there's a ton of other places where you have coaches that have to do the whole 10 yards, and they're feeling super overwhelmed and they can't focus on anything. But Ohio State, you have your job, and it's really not that overwhelming. And it's a perfect place to be for all these coaches and players. And it works. You get these right kids for the right price, and you put them in this great culture, and you produce billions and billions of dollars worth of NFL money.
It's Jackson Corville.
Jackson Corville. See, I was kind of close. Yeah.
Yes, you were.
For sure.
So for me, What was the issue with the O-line? It was the recruiting piece. Tyler Bowen is out here killing it. And we know that, Dev, because we talked to the recruits. He's out here killing it. Trust me, you guys are going to be very impressed with the recruiting class that we're going to bring in for the 26 class. However, just that's not to knock Justin Fry because he was an elite developer of the O-line, obviously, on this run, like I said earlier. And in terms of special teams, 22 Peach Bowl, we lost on a field goal, right? The team up north game this past year, even as bad as we played, if we make our field goals, we win that game as well. So I think Coach Day, this is a part of his growth and who he is as a man and a human being is he recognizes his faults. He recognizes the faults in the team, and he doesn't get emotional about it, and he's just honest with himself, especially during a off season to self-assess. And he's going to go ahead and make the changes that he needs. We already saw with Aaron Nolan, and he told him he was going to be the only quarterback in the class, right? And then he goes ahead and brings in Julian Sayin when that opportunity presented itself. And he had to wrestle with that, being that it was his first time doing something like that. And now you see he's turned into Daniels. He's going in and he's going to do whatever he has to do to make sure Ohio State keeps winning. But he's going to make sure he brings in the right players for the culture that fit the culture, that fit with their teammates and fit the brotherhood. So in terms of Day, he's amazing. He has the right coaches in. All the old linemen talk about how they love all three coaches. And at some point they were recruited by all three coaches. And if you look, even where those coaches are known for being recruiters at all the new coaches on staff, you have Alabama, you have Texas, you have California, and you have like the Midwest and some of Florida. So you're basically covering big areas where there's a lot of talent. So kudos to Ryan Day. Salute to Ryan Day. Nobody's doing it like him. He is the best in the sport right now. And it's not even close. I don't even think it's even worth a debate.
Yeah, there's not a debate on whether Ryan Day is a great coach or not. If you have to debate that, if somebody says, "Hey, we need to have a debate on that right now," don't waste your time because they already got this thought in their mind that he's not. But Ryan Day's killing the game, man. So that'll about do it, man. Got to wrap it up. Got Kirk and Nevada coming on here shortly. But to kind of simplify things down, man, if you want some, let's just say you're a fan watching this show of the team up north. Do not watch your media's YouTube show or go on your message board to find out the information of what is going on, man. Go to the NCAA board over there and look what's going on and just step back and take a bigger picture. Be honest with yourself. But if you want to find out more details, what's going to happen, the truth, go over to BuckeyeScoop.com. Join that message board. I'm telling you right now, number one source on this cheating scandal by far. Big-time people that are wanting to know what is going on are calling Buckeye Scoop and asking them this. That is not a made-up statement. That is going on. So, hate it if you want. The truth is still the truth. As much as you want to deny it, the truth always ends up winning out. Ryan Day's killing the game. Ohio State football has never looked brighter. Our rivals' football has never looked darker. So I don't know what else you want in life right now if you're an Ohio State football fan. Funky, Melo, any final words for our listeners in Buckeye Nation?
Final words for me is just the main show. I think Kirk and Nevada are going on tonight. Or I know they're going on tonight. They're really excited. Yeah. Nevada has some nice nuggets to share with all. He's been talking to his NCAA guys all day today, clearly, because even the NCAA guys were a little shocked that Michigan decided to leak this today. Because again, it's Michigan leaking it, not the NCAA. So that'll be interesting to hear from him and Kirk. Watch their show tonight. Like the video, subscribe, and thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely. It was great meeting you, Funky. Next time you're in Atlanta, me, you, and Dev have to link up and meet up. Everybody just subscribe, support the Buckeye Boys if you don't mind. Like, subscribe, and share. And thank you for having us. Kirk, we salute you. Nevada, as well as B. Moses and all the school fam. We love you.
Yeah, for sure. Like Melo said, man, go check us out. Buckeye Boys YouTube channel with the Z over there. Support Scoop as well. good people, sport veterans, give free subscriptions out to them, the whole 9 yards. But on that note, we appreciate you for joining us on our first Scoop show ever. I'm going to remember this. This is amazing. God is good. On that note, we love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Go Buckeyes. OH.
IO.
IO.